Let me paint you a picture. The year is 1955. It's a late August night in Kentucky. You're on your family farm and your father asks you to go fetch a pail of water from the well. As you're filling up, you look at the sky and begin to admire the stars. Suddenly, a bright flash appears, and from the heavens out comes a big disc-like object and crashes in a nearby forest. You panic and run back inside to tell your family. You and your group go out to investigate with your trusty firearms and soon come across creatures emerging from the dark forest. They stand hunched at about 3 feet tall, look humanoid, but with big, glowing eyes and large, goblin-like ears. The silver beings look at you and begin to move closer, not by walking, but by levitating. What I have briefly described here was a creature attack reported outside of Hopkinsville, Kentucky in 1955. The whole event lasted an entire night and involved 5 adults, 7 children, and even the local police. The farmers claimed that they were being tormented by multiple of the creatures all night, and that the beings were not killed by any of the 200 shots that were fired at them throughout that time. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds crazy. Insane even. Farmers vs. Space Gremlins would be a great movie, but it never happened. Right? Here's the thing. The police involved said that none of the people were the types to form a hoax, let alone lie to the police. Even the witness reports were cross-examined, and they all checked out. The police also confirmed that the damage done to the house by the creatures was exactly where the witnesses said it would be. I try to be skeptical about this kind of stuff, but I'll be honest, this one is intriguing. If this kind of thing was reported today, I'd brush it off as no big deal, but the fact that this happened in the 50s, before people could become famous with only one viral YouTube video, makes me think that these people aren't lying. But I don't think they're telling the truth. If you're no stranger to cryptozoology or ufology, then something you hear often to blame for all these encounters is that for UFOs, it's usually a comet in the sky, and for aliens, monsters, and other creatures, it's usually owls. And that's probably what happened here. I think that this is a fascinating story, but I don't think it's smart to not be skeptical about this. I understand that there were so many people involved, but again, it was the 1950s. And I'm not saying people living in small towns in the 50s were stupid, but I think it's fair to say that the people weren't as educated as they are today. So maybe the people involved in the goblin encounter just didn't know how to explain the things that they were seeing when, in the dead of night, an owl flew or levitated near them, and its big wings that formed the shape of goblin ears and reflective eyes gave them a spook. I think I'd have to say that the Hopkinsville Goblin encounter is one of my favorite spooky stories, even if I don't think it's 100% accurate. They've even caught the attention of the media and supposedly inspired the movie Critters and definitely inspired the third-generation Pokemon Sableye. If I had to rate the creatures themselves, I'd give them a score of 7 out of 10 floating goblins. It's a cool story, but the alien design is very 1950s pop culture-esque, making the creatures much less believable, and more of something that the witnesses thought up themselves. Thanks for tuning in.